ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome all the participants here at Zoom, as well as those who are joining us on Facebook Live for our today's event on employment at City of Calgary. We will start with land acknowledgement. Okay. In the spirit of reconciliation, I take this opportunity to acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of Blackfoot and the people of Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which include the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Tsuut'ina, and Stoney Nakoda First Nation, including Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nation. City of Calgary also home to the people of Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. I will also like to thank our program funder, IRCC, for their generous support. Without their support, we won't be able to bring this wonderful informative webinar to all the participants. So thanks a lot, IRCC. Now, a few house rules. Number one, please keep your microphone on mute all the time so it won't disturb our presenter today. Secondly, I will request again to everyone to please keep your camera turned off. Okay, I repeat, please keep your camera off as we are going live on Facebook. So we really appreciate if you can keep your camera off. Obviously, no abusive language will be tolerated. And please do not post any personal information in the chat box. Please save any question for the end of the workshop. So if you have any question, you can type them in the chat box at the end of the presentation, or you can just raise your hand and ask directly to our presenter today, and he will answer you at the end of the presentation. After the webinar, I will send you an evaluation form to all of you, and I will really appreciate if you can fill those evaluation form for us. It's very important for us. We appreciate your feedback to ensure better quality of workshop. I will request again to everyone that number one, please keep your cameras off. Secondly, please use the same name, the name which you have used at the time of the registration of the event, as we will send an email afterward, and it will help us to locate you in our registration database. Now, I would like to welcome our presenter today, Ashu Gandhi from City of Calgary. Ashu, thanks a lot for joining us today. I know your schedule is so busy, so jam-packed, but I really appreciate you taking your time out for us today and coming here and sharing all the valuable information from all the participants today. And as everybody is eagerly, anxiously waiting for you, so I'll just over to you. Thanks a lot, Ashu.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me to present to all of the participants here, and helping to explore and understand how working at the City of Calgary might work for you. So with that, I think we can begin our presentation and go forward from there. Okay, next slide, please. Wonderful. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the City of Calgary. The City of Calgary is an absolutely fantastic place to work. The city has about 15,000 employees, and that swells by about 3,000 in the summer months when we hire seasonal and students. We have approximately 6 departments and 27 business units, which represent about 500 different lines of business. If you think about that, it is a very unique place to work, where you can work, in the mayor's office, or you can work, in waste and recycling, or you can work, let's say, in fleet or transit, etc. The variety is tremendous. I don't think any other organization can offer that much variety in terms of the work that you can do at the City of Calgary. The vision of the City of Calgary is Calgary, a great place to make a living, a great place to make a life, and its common purpose is making life better every day. Next slide, please. So why the City of Calgary? What do we have to offer? Well, first and foremost, diversity. Diversity, not just in terms of the people or the types of people you work with, but in terms of the number of careers, that you can have at the City of Calgary, a number of departments that you can work in. I always like to share the story of Owen Tobert. He was our ex-city manager a few years ago, and he started off as a summer student and then moved into a position driving a gravel truck, and then slowly moved into the accounting area, and then from there into a business strategist position, till finally he became the city manager. And as many of you know, our ex-mayor, Mayor Nenshi, was also a summer student at the City of Calgary. So diversity, both in terms of the number of different jobs you can have at the City of Calgary, diversity in terms of the wide background of people that you can work with. It is absolutely a fantastic experience to be working at the City of Calgary. Second of all, it's about public service and a rewarding career. The work that you do can be work on legacy projects that last generations within the context of the city. You may be working on the Ring Road, you may be working on the West LRT project, you might be working on building the public library, you might be working in restoring the Lionsgate Bridge. There's so many ways in which you give back to the community and you give back to the city by working at the City of Calgary. City of Calgary also offers tremendous training opportunities. Once you start with the City of Calgary, we really want you to spend your career here. So if you're not a subject matter expert in a certain area and you happen to get into that area, we will provide you all the training you need to make sure that you do become that subject matter expert. It's a tremendous benefit at the city. Benefits and pension. We offer a competitive salary, really, really good benefits, and we're one of the only organizations, very few organizations, that offer a defined benefit pension plan. So that basically means that you will know exactly how much you're going to get when you retire. So it's a fantastic benefit, as well as work-life balance. And this is where the City of Calgary truly shines. It offers a tremendous amount of work-life balance. If you have, if you want to take a sabbatical, it offers you the ability to do that. If you want to, have a compressed work week where you're only working 4 days a week and a little bit more on those 4 days so that you can have the Fridays off, we have that. We also have what are called raw days, and that means you work a little bit more and you can have, every second Friday off. If you want to go back to school and switch your job to part-time, it's very easy to do at the city. So we really do support and understand the need for a tremendous work-life balance. So what does the City of Calgary offer? Well, it offers 3 particular categories of jobs. The first and foremost are student opportunities. So this is generally for individuals that are students that basically their semester ends in April and then they start up again in September. We offer opportunities to them, things such as engineer in training programs, human resources development advisor roles, practicums and co-ops in social work, recreation, law, as well as transportation infrastructure programs, and the summer student program in itself. So lots of opportunities for summer students and students in general. And remember, all of the work that you do as a student does count as work experience when you do apply for a full-time job. The next bucket is basically entry-level or temporary positions. So this is generally for individuals with 1 to 3 years of experience. It's a great way to get your foot in the door. So things like communications assistant, recruitment specialist, HR associate, assistant buyers, parks and roads workers, etc. We also offer TESA, which stands for Temporary Employment Staffing Agency. So this is basically a staffing agency that exists within the context of the city or the corporation itself. So let's say there's an individual that needs to take a little bit of time off, let's say 3 months or 2 months or something of the sort. Well, instead of posting for that particular position, because the work still needs to get done, we can draw from our TESA pool, and that individual can then go fill that position for a little bit of time, and then goes back in the pool, and then may get placed somewhere else after that. So it gives you a tremendous opportunity to move around within the context of different departments at the City of Calgary. The final bucket we offer are mid to executive level positions. These are generally people with 4 years or more of experience, usually a degree or a diploma. And they can be, and there's so many different positions at the City of Calgary, everything from project managers to management system analysts, engineers, buyers, business strategists. If you go to the calgary.ca/careers site, you will see all of these positions posted there. So the calgary.ca/careers site, this is a tremendous site, and I encourage all of you to spend a fair amount of time looking at that site. So what we do at that site is we post all of our jobs there. The job postings are extremely transparent. You will see exactly what the requirements are. You will also see the salary band. You will see whether it is part-time or full-time. You'll see whether it's a hybrid work environment or a remote work environment. So it's important to go there to take a look at all the various job postings and understand what the requirements are. Additionally, what we do is on that site, we post information about, the types of interviews that we do, sample interview questions. We also post information in terms of alerts, so you can set alerts on the particular site for jobs that you may want. So a lot of information on the site, constantly being updated. So I highly recommend you to visit the site and spend some time on it as well. So what is the recruitment process at the City of Calgary? This is a question I often get asked. So basically it starts off by hiring managers posting the particular position. They post it on the calgary.ca site, as well as it gets picked up by Indeed. It may get posted on LinkedIn. It'll get tweeted on Twitter. It'll be on Facebook. Not to mention other organizations. For instance, if it's an engineering job, it might get posted on the Pega site, etc. So we try to get the word out there in terms of the positions that we have quite extensively as well. And then we do use screening, and this is important to note as well. We have to, because of the volume of candidates that we get for the various positions. It's important to understand that for some positions where there are must-have requirements, like let's say engineering, and you must have an APEGA designation, and you put that you do not have one, you will be screened out because it's a legal requirement for us to have that, as well as, for a lot of the must-have positions where we don't say that, where we don't specifically post on the job posting that equivalent combinations of education and experience may be considered, then, if we say you must have 4 years, then you must have 4 years. We're bound by union agreements as well by employment policy. Doesn't mean just because you've been screened out, we're going to ignore your resume. As part of every hiring manager's basic function, they have to review all resumes that come in, but you may be screened out. Just something to keep in mind. The process is a long process. It can take 6 to 8 weeks. It's because hiring managers and putting together panels to review resumes or to call people in, do telephone pre-screens, it takes a lot of time. So 6 to 8 weeks. I often get the question, well, I haven't heard back. If you haven't heard back after 8 weeks, generally you can assume that either you weren't the successful candidate or that the position may have been canceled. But generally, it will take up to 6 to 8 weeks. We only contact successful candidates for telephone pre-screens or interviews. However, once the position has been closed and somebody has been hired, you will get a notification in your email notifying you that you weren't successful in the position. Interviews are generally conducted using targeted selection. Information about what targeted selection and star responses can be found on the calgary.ca/careers site, and you'll be able to understand a little bit better how we go about hiring. So recruitment tips. This is usually where I get the most questions. People often say, well, I've applied so many times to the city, but nobody gets back to me, etc. First and foremost, the tips that I can give you are, number one, if it's posted on our website, that means that the job has been posted both internally and externally. Like all organizations out there, jobs that are posted externally and internally, we always want to consider the internal candidates who are qualified first and foremost, just for succession planning purposes. The other tip I can give you is read the minimum qualifications very carefully. So if there are must-haves, then you must have those qualifications. So if it says you must have 4 years and you've only got 3 years of experience, you won't be considered for the position. Again, for the reasons stated earlier, that we are bound by employment policy and by union regulations as well. It doesn't matter if you have a degree from another country. The only thing that matters is that you have that IQOS certified to see, how it compares to a degree in Canada as well. Your experience from another country is as valid as any Canadian experience. So make sure when you're applying that you do state all of your experience, and on your resume, same thing. All of your experience is really important. It's also important to build a really solid LinkedIn profile. And I will talk a little bit more about this later in the presentation, so you get a better idea of how to go about doing that, and then connect with the individuals on LinkedIn, such as myself. I'm more than happy to accept all connection requests, or my coworker, David Fletcher, as well. Check the website, calgary.ca, for interview and resume tips and e-learning modules. We have quite a few of those as well. Again, look at TESA as a way to get into the city as a temporary staffing agency within the context of the city itself. Those jobs are posted on the calgary.ca/career site as well. And volunteer with the city and network. We recently had an election at the City of Calgary, as you all know, and we were hiring and recruiting lots of volunteers for the whole electoral process. Many of the individuals that volunteered for the city then went on to apply for positions and are now working at the City of Calgary. So it's a great way to get in, and those volunteer opportunities are posted on the calgary.ca/career site as well. So building a LinkedIn profile. This is where I'd like to spend a little bit of time with you as well, because the City of Calgary does use LinkedIn extensively. Generally speaking, highlight your work experience, education, special projects, and uniqueness in your LinkedIn profile. Really, really talk about what you're passionate about, what your vision is, where you like to work, where your skill set is, what you're a subject matter expert in, etc. It's important to build a very robust LinkedIn profile. And LinkedIn is all about connections and networking. So if you're worried about, oh, I'm going to get spam emails or people are going to connect with me, then don't build a LinkedIn profile, is my suggestion. Because at the end of the day, connections, networking, talking to individuals vis-a-vis LinkedIn is really, really critical and important. Obtain recommendations, follow groups, and become engaged. And I'll talk about those in a minute. Next slide, please. So LinkedIn and the City of Calgary, how do we use LinkedIn? So basically, we have 3 recruiter licenses for LinkedIn at the City of Calgary. Myself, David Fletcher, and Jacqueline Smith are the 3 LinkedIn recruiters. David and I are both certified LinkedIn recruiters, which means that we've passed our courses and exams to better understand the tool and how it works. So essentially what happens at the City of Calgary is a hiring manager will come to talent acquisition, come to our department and say that I've got a position that I need to fill. I think it's hard to fill. I'm not getting very many applicants, or last time I posted, I didn't get a lot of applicants. What we will then do is put together a recruitment strategy for that hiring manager, go on LinkedIn, try to find candidates that most closely meet the job posting, pass those by the hiring manager, And the hiring manager will then ask us to contact those individuals, reach out to them specifically, and we can do that vis-a-vis the recruiter tool without being connected to the individuals, and encourage them to apply, or encourage them to ask us any questions they may have about the particular job. So we use it quite extensively for a lot of hard to fill positions at the City of Calgary, and it is something that we're only using more and more. We're getting more and more dedicated job slots. We're advertising on LinkedIn itself, sponsoring particular jobs, etc. So I encourage you to build a really good LinkedIn profile. Next slide. Yeah, so I'll use an example here of my coworker, David Fletcher, and some of the things that he's done. First and foremost, use a professional photo. LinkedIn is a networking site, and it is not, a place to post pictures of your vacation or your dog or anything of the sort. Use a professional photo. You're 7 times more likelier to be contacted if you have a professional photo. Use a tagline. It helps to make your LinkedIn profile pop. For instance, Dave is using our vision statement here in his. So, whatever you're passionate about, again, your contact info, put it out there. Don't be hesitant to have your contact information out there, so that we can contact you. I can't tell you the number of times that we've been asked to reach out to people, or a hiring manager wants to reach out to someone, etc. No contact information on their LinkedIn site. And then they miss the opportunity for being contacted. So I would encourage you to highly put your contact information there. In your profile itself, in the main summary section, put keywords in there for positions that you're looking for or passionate about, etc. As you can see, David has put talent acquisition, career development, onboarding. So when we as recruiters go and do Boolean searches for, onboarding, well, David's profile is going to pop up because it's in his profile. So it's really important to understand how LinkedIn works. And basically, it crawls through your LinkedIn profile every time we do a search, and pulls out the keywords that we're searching and designates whether you're a match or not. So it's really, really important to do that. Again, if you have contact information, please put it in your summary section as well, so it's easy to find. And if you have any information, media information, or you have a short video about yourself or something that you've done and you want to include that, I encourage you to do that, because we will often click on those to get a better understanding of the candidate. Awards and recommendations. I really highly encourage you to get endorsements, endorsements from people who know your skill level, what you're all about, etc. Same with recommendations. Recommendations from subject matter experts are important. It is a very small world on social media, and you'd be surprised how many people know each other on LinkedIn. So if you have a recommendation from, let's say you're a power traction engineer and you have a recommendation from a really high level power traction engineer, chances are all power traction engineers know other power traction engineers. It's a very small group, very niche, etc. Do connect on groups on LinkedIn as well. That's another really important piece of information, because in groups, ask questions, belong to the groups, because you'll be surprised how many people at the City of Calgary, how many hiring managers, etc., are on LinkedIn and spend time in groups, chatting and trying to find information or trying to solve problems or issues as well. So connecting with the City of Calgary, we are all over social media. We're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, I believe Instagram as well. We have an RSS feed. We're on Blogger. Connect with us in as many ways as possible. Don't be hesitant to ask questions when you're connected with us, and we'll always try to get you a response back. We try to be as timely as possible. And if you do these things and you spend time on the career site, build a good LinkedIn profile, very passionate about what it is that you're doing, your chances of getting hired at the City of Calgary are much, much better than just simply submitting an application. So I hope that you have found this information useful, and we can open it up to questions, and I'll do my best to answer questions for you.
Thank you so much, Ashu, for this wonderful, wonderful presentation. There's so much to learn from this. We'll be taking questions, so please type your questions in the chat box. We would prefer that because if we start unmuting people, I think it will become chaotic because there's a lot of people. So please type questions in the chat box.
And before we take questions, I would like to, so Meenakshi, the Facebook Live is going, we are not going live on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.